Hey Nick,
What's up?
did you hear about the cow moving in?
What?
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you about it. It's a very moving story.
Shut up.
Welcome back to But Is It a Good Movie, where we go through my movie collection one by one every week to find out if that week's choice is a good movie and should be kept in the collection, or if it's a bad one and we should throw that bad boy out. I'm your host Ish, and with me is my co-host Nick.
That's me.
All right, Nick. This week we saw a movie called First Cow.
Yes,
It
yes, we did.
came out in 2019. I think it came out right before COVID hit.
Yeah.
I think COVID was around, and this was one of the few titles that came out right before.
Okay.
So I think when this movie first came out, it got a very minor release. Very few theaters had it. And then COVID hit, so they were like, okay, we gotta scrap this. We'll postpone it, release it later on. Things got worse, so never got a full release, but then it went on streaming.
Okay. Yeah. This I never heard of this movie, so I thought this was a direct to streaming basically.
Yeah, it basically was. It wasn't shot that way, but it's an A24 film. I had no idea until I saw the title card.
Yeah, and we went in very blind. We knew virtually nothing. The only thing I looked up before watching the movie was its score.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, it did really good.
Yeah. The rating.
Yeah, rating. I keep calling it score, and everyone's like,
I guess
yeah,
it's score.
Yeah, but I guess everyone's like, oh, how are the music?
Yeah, no. This movie, a lot of people called it a masterpiece.
Yeah. I was taken aback by that word because that is a title you'll give a movie once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
That's a masterpiece.
Yeah, like the Batman. That's a masterpiece.
Oh, sure it is. I've yet to see that, but I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't look up too much about this movie, because if I would have seen those words, a masterpiece, going into this movie, I would have had way higher expectations.
Oh my god, yeah.
And I would have been, I don't want to say I would have been disappointed, but I would have been very confused.
Yeah. This movie left me confused.
Yeah. So, it's made by a director. Her name is Kelly Reichardt. She directed this, and she also edited it.
Okay.
So, she did both, so she had a lot of control on this movie.
Yeah.
And I've never seen any other movies by her. This is the first one.
Yeah, I've never seen any movies by her either.
I was reading up on some of her stuff, and it seems like this is very consistent on what she does. She kind of does a more, a slower pace, a lot of wilderness shots, very naturey. And I guess friendship is a good big thing in her movies.
Yeah, that was a huge theme of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Was the friendship between these two guys.
Yeah.
And it was very chill movie.
It was, right?
I didn't feel adrenaline at all, really. Even when there was a little bit of action. And I don't know, I did kind of smile at their friendship a little bit. So I feel that was done pretty nicely.
Yeah, I think so too. Because this movie is about these two guys, Cookie and King Lou.
King Lou.
And it's about how this unlikely friendship has formed into almost like an entrepreneurship, like a business of some sort.
Yeah, it's two bros who meet on the most unlikely circumstances in the most unlikely time period.
Yeah.
Because this takes place in the frontier, probably around Gold Rush, Oregon Trail style.
I think it was around the 1890s, maybe pre 1900s.
Yeah.
1820s.
Okay.
Yeah. So right from the beginning of this movie, I feel they give you a sense of the tone, right? Because the first shot we get is this barge going across a river.
So slow.
It's so slow. It drags on, but you see it go enter the frame, leave the frame, and I don't know. At first, when I was watching it, I thought something else was gonna like what is this? And I think it's just like to set the mood, right? This movie's gonna take its time.
Yeah.
It's gonna breathe, and you either gotta accept it or at this point turn the movie off.
Yeah, I was very taken back by like how drawn out these shots are and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For me, I do lose a little bit on movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like when there's like I do like long shots when there's like stuff to look at.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the shots that this director did were like there wasn't a lot going on. And I guess that is like kind of like, the movie, not a lot goes on, but like just enough happens.
Yeah. It is very I think I don't want to say jarring because nothing in this movie is too jarring.
Yeah.
But it's different. And I haven't seen a movie quite like this in a long time.
Yeah. I think it's just jarring in comparison to like what we're so used to. Like going from Upgrade last week where it was like, like high octane action and like, like they move the story along pretty quick.
Yeah. No, yeah. I you're right. It went from a high octane to like something like this, right?
Yeah.
Where it's very slow.
And there's definitely nothing wrong with like slow movies. Like some of my like favorite movies are like considered like on like the slower side and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's weird because like part of me doesn't even want to call this movie a slow movie because I feel like slow is such a negative term when it comes to movies.
Yeah.
But
I also don't want to call this movie empty either.
No, because it's not empty.
Yeah, because there's like like it's like you gotta find like the happy medium between like all these words.
Yeah.
Because like I don't want to label it to someone and be like, yeah, the movie's empty, and someone's like, well, I don't want to watch an empty movie. Like,
this movie makes me feel, I don't want to say dumb, but it makes me feel not classy enough.
Oh my
to
God.
be on this movie's level.
Yeah.
Because I could appreciate the movie, but at the same time, my stupid monkey brain is like, what the fuck's happening?
Yeah. It takes a long time for us to figure out like the plot of the movie. Like I would argue an hour in.
Yeah.
Before like the plot of the movie is like actually like shown to us.
Yeah, that's fair. I have a question. So this movie, it opens up in modern time, right? And it's this girl with her dog.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they're doing. They're like foraging, maybe.
They're just out chilling.
Yeah, but she stumbles across 2 skeletons.
And she just like, I was like taken back by like how much she's digging.
Yeah.
Because like her dog finds a skull and then she just starts digging up these 2 bodies and she doesn't stop. Like I would stop immediately.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. At first I was like, okay, she's going to call the cops because I didn't know this movie was a Western.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, what's going on? Oh, she's still digging these skeletons up? All right. But once she digs up the skeletons, we see it's 2 of them, and it's like a very hard cut. Almost to the point where you don't realize that you went back in time. Like over 100 years. Because the only thing I think that gave it away is in modern time, the shots are kind of, I don't want to say dreary, but there's not that much color. But when it cuts back, it's like full of color. Like the mushrooms are bright yellow, there's vibrant green, and the only thing that is kind of a hint that you're back in time is those boots. You see a boot with a hole in it.
Yeah. Yeah, so like when they did the cut and we are on our main character, I just thought this was like a homeless dude, like foraging in the middle of the woods, and they're gonna meet.
Yeah, so knowing how the movie ends and where it goes, do you think that prologue is necessary? Did you like the girl finding the skeletons? Did you like that?
No.
No?
No, I did not like that.
So you think the movie would have been better without that?
I think so. Yeah. Because like I am in the camp of this movie where it could have been shorter.
Okay.
Because it's 2 hours?
Yeah, it's like a little bit over 2 hours.
And I just feel like I get like how we talk about like there's long drawn out things, but I think I agree with you. I don't think I'm smart enough for this
Yeah.
movie, or I could appreciate the movie 100%. But I think we could have cut like, I don't know, at least 20 minutes. In the
Yeah.
beginning part, probably we could have cut,
Yeah, I agree with you.
because like in a way like it's showing us how it ends
It is.
essentially.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way it was done was like, what's going on?
Yeah, I I get it. It's like kind of like a bookend, right? You see the two skeletons, and then at the end, the two guys are in the exact same pose. So you're
Yeah.
like, this is where they are. But I don't know. I kind of wish it wasn't there, just because the whole time I'm expecting they're gonna die. So
Yeah.
it kind of I don't know, like minimizes the amount of care I have, since I know they're not gonna like pursue their dreams. I know they're not gonna get the thing that they want because they're gonna die in this area
Yeah.
like pretty soon.
Yeah, so like knowing that they are going to meet their end, you know, some movies like they show you, you know, like characters die and then like it kind of like flashes back and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But I just feel like because like it takes a while for us to like get to know these characters, and then we just know that ultimately it's like they're dead.
Did you forget about that opening scene while you were watching it, or was that always like in the
No,
back of your
because
mind?
like I said, like that woman just digging up the bodies and she's just like constantly like pushing dirt back
Yeah.
and exposing them and stuff like that. Like that, I was like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, why is she continuing?
Yeah, because we never get back to her.
Yeah,
So
like now she just has to explain why there's like two
Why?
skeletons.
yeah,
That's gonna be a weird phone call to the
Yeah.
cops. Be like, yeah, I just couldn't help myself.
I just dug up everything.
Yeah, like
And thinking about that scene after finishing the movie, I was like, oh, wait, is there like a bag full of really old money in that grave, or did someone pick it up? And I was like,
oh, I bet they stole that money.
yeah. Yeah, so I know you were talking about how this movie could definitely be cut shorter. And I totally agree. Not even with just like the getting rid of the prologue, but also just getting rid of a vast majority of like the first act of seeing Cookie with all these like hunters,
Yeah,
poachers.
yeah. So taking place back in like the frontier, they're in Oregon.
Yeah.
And he starts off with like a trapping group.
Yeah, trappers.
And so like they go around and they're going to trap animals for their fur. And so it's constantly talked about that he's in a lesser group, like no one wanted him.
Yeah.
So like he's with like kind of like the low end of these groups.
Yeah, but he is vital.
Yeah, because he's the cook. And then like personally I feel like that scene of him with the like with that trapping group is pretty needed because you get a good idea of his character.
Yeah.
He doesn't have much of like a backbone. He's kind of like a yes man. He's quiet. He's shy, and so I feel like that part is like needed. And then
Yeah.
and then you also get the vibe of like how other characters are acting in this world. You know, they don't give a shit. They're just here for money. Like degenerate kind of.
Yeah, and I like that you pointed that out, that he is very different from the rest of the trappers. Because this whole movie shows Cookie and in a way King as very feminine characters, right? There's not a lot of women in this movie.
Okay.
So it's not having that element in this movie and seeing how they act and how they're treated amongst everyone else. They are very feminine in nature. And that's not necessarily a negative towards the characters, but it is very like I don't know, like refreshing seeing this because everyone's kind of barbaric. And, like when they're in that trapper group and Cookie doesn't really come back with anything.
Yeah.
There's like a fight that breaks out because someone's drinking a little bit too much, and the other guy's like, "You're drinking everything," so they just start fighting, and Cookie's just like, "All right, I'm gonna go back in my tent."
Yeah. And also it's like you kind of get like the sense of like the world too. It's just like how many other groups are like this, you know, and Cookie definitely stands out very far. And he's also like really nice.
He is very nice. Yeah.
He's generous.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to see that when he meets King Lu.
Yeah.
Where he just finds him. He's like running away from Russians.
Mm-hmm.
And he like offers him a place in his tent and some food and like, you know.
Yeah, gives him a blanket because he is naked when he finds him.
Naked and afraid in the woods.
Yeah. And at first when he comes across him, I didn't know what was going to happen, right?
I'm not going to lie. It was really funny.
Because King Lu doesn't react too much, and neither does Cookie.
Yeah, like Cookie's out there just foraging, looking for food, and then he just kind of looks up and he's like 12 inches away from like King's face, and they're like, hi. Like very awkward.
Yeah, and so just from that first encounter, we could tell that they're not very aggro people.
No.
They're both very chill.
Yeah.
They're just both trying to like find their way in life.
Yeah.
And
in this like very weird like world, like anything from the past, it's like there was no like sense of like, you know, like who you are really. You know, it's like you wake up and you try to find food or like you try to find like just anything to grasp onto, and like the way of life was like so different and stuff like that. So I feel like this movie kind of shows that like a bit better than I would say like just like a general Western.
Yeah, because you said earlier how everyone's kind of there like for money, or it was like during the gold rush times, and multiple characters throughout this movie keep saying that this land is like the land of opportunity, or there's a lot of wealth here, like just there to be taken, right? So I think what King Lu's character, he kind of wants to like start a business, make something of himself, right? And Cookie kind of just wants to follow a passion. Like he loves to bake.
Yeah.
So both of these characters, I can see how like their paths come across because they help each other out a lot, right? So where King wants to start a business or start something, maybe like a farm, and Cookie kind of wants to start a business. He wants to start a hotel.
Yeah.
But in essence, to have a bakery and to like feed people and like see how happy that makes them.
Yeah, like definitely like King Lu, my bad. Not King Lu.
I don't know.
I'm just going to call him King. King wants this grand idea. He's like that guy you meet in college that has like so many like Silicon Valley ideas. He's like, we're gonna make this app and we're gonna get rich. And then Cookie's the guy that's just like, I just want to make something or do something that I could like impact people's lives. Because like I said, he's a very generous character and stuff like that. So, and I feel like baking's perfect for his character.
Oh, totally.
Because like, what better way to like show like generosity or like is to give someone something that when they eat it they're like, oh, that was really good. Yeah. And probably Cookie gets a lot of like enjoyment, fulfillment out of that. Meanwhile, King is more on the side of like, so like he's not inherently like greedy, but like I guess like on the side of like talking about passion, his is mainly just like to start something that he could call his own.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if you got this sense. You probably did. But this movie, I feel like, deals a lot with the idea of like capitalism and exploitation a lot.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because like we've discussed, like they want to start businesses, and like a way to do that is like by exploiting things. And like one of the biggest things that they take advantage of to pursue like their goals and like to be better in life is by taking advantage of this guy's cow, which is the first cow in the region.
Yeah. So when we finally meet the cow, we're like, okay, this is it. So
yeah, because the cow doesn't get introduced until, I don't know, like an hour in, right?
Yeah, I'd say like when we meet the cow is like when we start to finally get the movie like rolling, you know?
Yeah, because it's like, oh, there it is. That's the first cow.
Like, oh my god.
And what a perfect opening shot of like the cow. It's like a very majestic shot of this cow on a raft.
Just coming in on the river.
It's such a beautiful cow.
Yeah, it's a brown cow.
Mm-hmm.
It has better eyes than anyone you've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
And it's just chilling. So yeah, like the whole movie, when you hear first cow, I was more intrigued just by like it's a funny title.
Yeah.
And then when you finally like meet the cow, you're like, oh, the cow's not even like a main character. It's just more of like the tool to get the plot going.
Yeah.
So like in this like town, it's like a fort or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a fort, I would say.
There's like a general or like...
Yeah, so they keep calling him... I think they call him like the chief factor, which is...
He's like the leader of the town or like...
Yeah, he's almost like a governor, right? And it seems like the only reason he is in power is because of his stature and like his wealth.
Yeah.
Because he is the only rich guy in town.
Yeah, everyone else is like poor, and
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is definitely near like Indian territory too, because you do see a lot of Indian people and like white men,
Yeah.
kind of coexisting with each other.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he gets the cow because he wants cream in his
tea.
How fucking English of him. In the middle of Oregon, in the middle of the gold rush.
Yeah, because we learn when that cow came, it came with a steer and a calf.
Yeah.
But they didn't make it. Only the cow made it.
Only the wife made it.
Yeah. Which is very sad.
That is so... But, like, that is, like, kind of how it goes, you know? Like, there was no proper way to transport animals, especially as big as it is a cow.
Yeah.
You know?
And that gets brought up again later on in the movie with Cookie when he decides to go for it because King kind of pushes him towards it. He's like, yeah, let's go do it. Let's go take some milk from this guy. Because all he's using it is for his tea. It's like, it's not like he's gonna miss it, right?
Yeah.
So they decide to like sneak in at night while the cow's still
milk
like
the
raising
cow.
and milk the cow. And this is one of like the other times where we see Cookie kind of show how sympathetic he is and very like emotional because he asked the cow like,
how are you?
How are you? It's like, sorry about your husband and your calf. That must be very rough. He's like talking to this cow and he's just like, and he doesn't show a lot of emotion in this movie, but when he does, for instance, in this movie, he like smiles, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
Because like that's a lot for this character. Everyone in this whole movie is kind of like gruffy and like very unpleasant, and just seeing Cookie smile, I don't know, it kind of warmed my heart a little bit.
Yeah, it did. So like, just to take like a step back. So we get to see King kind of extend out his gratitude towards Cookie when they finally meet up again, because Cookie shared his tent with him and stuff, and now King is letting Cookie live with him.
Yeah.
In his little 1x1 shed. And this is when King realizes that Cookie can bake.
Yeah.
And like make food and stuff like that. And when they go and steal milk for the first time, he makes biscuits.
Yeah, he does. He makes biscuits.
And King immediately is like, profit on the month. You know, like all he sees is dollar signs. He's like, I wonder how much someone would pay for these. And Cookie keeps talking about like, they would probably want something sweeter.
Yeah.
Like all he's thinking about is like what the people would want. And King is like, how much would these people pay for it?
So when he makes the biscuits, they already stole the milk at that point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how he's able to make them.
Yeah, because they're just like sitting at night and they're doing like that bro talk where like King is talking about, he's like, oh, maybe we can start a farm. He's like, the hotel's not a bad idea, but like a lot of competition, San Francisco or whatever they say it is.
Yeah.
And Cookie's just thinking about, he's just like, I'm sick of all the water and flour cooking. Like, I wish we had milk.
Yeah, because earlier he saw the cow in the field.
Yeah.
And he was like, I saw a cow in the field earlier. was like, that was really cool.
He's like really chill out. He's like, yeah, saw a cow.
Mm-hmm.
But like, just like, I don't know, in today's age, when you're driving on the highway and someone goes, there's a cow, and we're like, where?
Yeah. So I want to get, I guess, go back a little bit even more to when they regroup, right? Cookie and King, and it's at like this tavern.
Oh yeah,
like,
the bar.
And this also shows how feminine this movie portrays Cookie as, because this big guy comes in with a baby, and this other guy is like kind of like talking shit about this huge guy.
So yeah, call him like stupid and shit.
Mm-hmm. So the guy turns to Cookie and he's like, here, watch my baby, I'll be right back. Which is very subtle, but it is just expanding on like the idea of like, out of everyone in this bar, he goes for Cookie because Cookie is like the most feminine, and I guess would be the better caretaker of this baby. Yeah. Which, I guess not really a good idea because he ends up just leaving the baby there.
Yeah. Which I was really happy about. Not that he left the baby, but like the fact that like we didn't have to deal with a baby for the rest of the movie. I thought that's the way this was going.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I really don't want to deal with like these like two single dads in the middle of like the frontier raising a baby.
Yeah, and I think the only reason that baby scene is there is just to like show how feminine Cookie is.
How he's not like the man's man.
Yeah, and when he goes into the bar, he orders a whiskey, and I feel like he like
forces himself to drink
it. Yeah, he like cringes a little bit, which I don't know if it's just like the belief that when you go here, if this is what a man does, he gets like a whiskey.
Yeah.
Because even when they go back to King's shack, he still gets like a whiskey, and he's still kind of like, I don't know if I like it.
Yeah.
But did you know what I love about that scene in particular when they go back to his shed is King's like, oh, make yourself easy. So what does like Cookie do? He picks up a broom. He just starts sweeping. He goes outside, gets some flowers.
Yeah.
It's like, it's very cute.
Yeah.
I can't believe how cute Cookie is.
Yeah. I almost want like like this is a good movie, but I feel like it would have been like a really cool show.
Yeah.
You know, the lives of these two. Mm-hmm. Because like I do want more of Cookie. Yeah, like the character is really good. And knowing his like untimely demise is set in motion, it does kind of stink.
Yeah.
You know?
And I will give credit to like the director for this part and like the actors. I could see how they could have taken this a little bit too far and made it almost like a very sexual thing. Like there's some tension between Cookie and King, but there's not. It's just like they're friends.
Yeah.
It's a very friendly relationship that they have.
And I like that.
Yeah.
Because like in movies there's always like a subplot line of love. But like in this movie, like it's just them being friends. And I like that.
Yeah, you don't see that very often.
It is refreshing.
And it's not like they try to outdo each other or like talk shit. It's like, no, they're just good friends.
And they're just vibing, man.
Yeah. So when they eventually end up stealing the milk, which is, it's bad, right? You're not supposed to steal, but they're doing it to make money so they could go start a better life, right? So I guess that's like where the exploitation comes out of. But they decide to go make these oily cakes.
Yeah, which at first I was like, the fuck is an oily cake?
Yeah, it's just like a donut, right?
Yeah.
So they kind of test the waters out. I think they make like 8 or 6 of them. And they go to like this market area where they end up selling out almost immediately.
Yeah, they lay down their blanket, they put down their oily cakes, and all of a sudden 1 goes, then 7 more go.
Yeah, and I love how there's almost like a bidding war at that point.
For the last one.
For the last oily cake. Because like someone's like, oh yeah, it's like 5 shells or whatever.
Yeah, and
like,
then it goes up to like 10.
Yeah, and like... And when they were saying like all this lingo, I didn't know. I thought it was just like slang for like, you know how we say like cash or cheddar or like whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like when they were like, oh, I got ingots and some coins and a couple of shells. And I was like, okay, cool. And then when he's counting the money out, it's like, oh, those are actual shells.
Yeah, like I was I was like, holy shit, we're dealing with like Sally's seashores.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Seashores. Oh my god.
Seashells.
Seashells. There we go.
And I like that. Considering this is an A24 film, and I'm assuming it's very low budget, because all A24 films don't have that big of a budget. It is kind of cool how this movie did a really good job at making you feel like this is like the old like Western times, and
yeah,
there is a scene where they're like people are playing cards, and there actually is like half a coin, and then someone else has like 1/6 of a coin, and that's what they're betting, and it's like that's kind of cool. Like you don't see that very often.
I know, that was almost like cartoony. It's like, I'll raise you half a coin.
Yeah.
It's like, it really is literally half a coin.
Yeah. And then all the like, just like the actors and all like the set pieces and outfits and stuff, it was just very cool. Just like seeing it. No one like stood out too much where it's like, oh, that guy looks like a total cowboy.
Oh yeah.
But the one guy I think that did stand out the most in that town, and I don't think he ever buys an oily cake. I don't know if I ever saw him around, was there's like this very disgruntled old man who like doesn't like them for some reason.
Yeah, they walk past them like twice, maybe 3 times at most.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's just like pissed off. Like he looks like he's like, oh my god. Like I don't even, like he's just like pissed off at the world.
Yeah, I feel like he doesn't like them in particular because they don't belong, right? They don't look dirty like everyone else. They're not very like tough.
Yeah.
They're just these two dudes, and I don't know, I think that just rubs him off the wrong way, because when we first see him is Cookie goes to town because he just bought a pair of new boots.
And they're like shiny new boots.
Mm-hmm. And that guy, he's like, those are some fancy boots.
Yeah. And Cookie gets a little self-conscious with his new boots. Everyone's looking at him and stuff. And it cuts to like him like putting dirt on them. Yeah. Which like I don't think he wants to, but he doesn't want like to stand out.
Yeah.
As much as he already does.
Yeah, because he likes to feel good about himself. This is like one thing that makes him happy. Because,
self-care, man.
Yeah, because earlier we saw that he seems very unhappy about his original pair of boots because it has like the hole in them. He's just like doesn't really know how to fix them. But then when he ends up finally getting to the fort and getting paid for whatever service they were doing, that's the first thing he does. He gets these pair of boots to like better his life.
Yes.
And that's the whole point. It's like they're trying to better their lives. So they all those oily cakes, big boom, right? Mm-hmm. Like it did gangbusters. So they decide to go back and like make more oily cakes, but in order to do that, they have to go get more milk.
So they have to steal more.
Yeah, and that's one of the few parts of the movie that it made me feel very like tense because I didn't want them to get caught.
Yeah, so like at this point, it's like we love Cookie, we stand for Cookie. King, he's alright, I guess. Yeah, but like. So, like, King keeps watch and Cookie milks the cow, and he has our moment where he talks to the cow. He, like, pets the side of the cow. He's, like, showing the cow affection. And they're stealing the milk. And I was in the same boat, like, fuck, like, don't get caught. Yeah. Please don't get caught.
Yeah, and it's, like, even the cow likes Cookie, because I'm assuming no one else really talks to the cow. The cow's only there to provide for cream. Later, we see how the chief factor... It's almost like a bragging, right? It's like, look at my cow.
Yeah, it's like, look at my Cadillac out back.
Yeah. Oh. But, I don't know. I just love the relationship between the cow and Cookie.
Yeah. You know, it definitely is like this, like, because, like, not saying, like, milking a cow is, like, feminine, but it's, like, you know, it's not like you're butchering it, you know? Like, you're, like, tending to it, you know? Like, you're being, like, cool with it. And I think that's another, like, way to show, like, Cookie isn't, like, gruff.
No, it's such a perfect pairing between them two, because I know what goes better than milk and cookies.
Oh my god, I never realized that. You know, I sat on this movie for like 4 fucking days, and I didn't even realize milk and cookies. Oh my god.
Oh,
I mean, that's it. It is a masterpiece.
it's great. It's so subtle. 10 out of 10.
Oh god.
So they better their recipe. Next day they come back even harder, right? They got honey to go with their oily cakes
And
they got cinnamon. And there's a huge line now, right?
Yeah.
Word of mouth, everyone at this fort wants these oily cakes. You hear like just some like chitter chatter amongst like the line. Some people are like, I'm gonna save mine for later. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get 2 this time. I was like, oh no, I heard there's only 1 per person.
And it's like, oh, this person was saving me a spot in line.
Yeah.
Like, no cutting.
And they end up selling out again. But we see a very, very minor character who gets screwed out of his oily cake. And then the camera lingers on this one character. And it's, I think his name is like Thomas in the movie.
Yeah,
and he works for the chief factor.
He's like the boy.
He is the boy, and I feel bad for him.
They shit on the boy quite a bit.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and just from that shot where this is the first time I think we see him, and the camera just lingers on him. He's kind of like licking his lips a little. He doesn't want to leave, but he's like, damn, there's no more.
Yeah.
And we end up finding out that even though he was such a minor character, he was, I want to say, the most important person in this story, because he is the one that in the end takes the lives of Cookie and King.
Yeah.
Assumingly, right? We don't see that happen, but he's the only one that's like able to track them down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And part of me thinks it's like, what if that day he didn't get cut in line, right? What if he got his oily cake and like there was just like something that like sparked in him that was like makes him like Cookie and King a little bit more. It's like
to like let them go.
Yeah, would he let him go?
I wonder. That is like a good point. Like, what if?
Yeah.
Because this movie doesn't really explore like possibilities.
Mm-mm.
It's more or less it's just like, all right, we're stealing milk to make these oily cakes.
Mm-hmm.
They're a big hit. Let's just do it again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is no like maybe we should wait a day. It's like no, you gotta act now.
Yeah, and the reason they keep pursuing this and they keep stealing the milk and they keep making oily cakes and going back and selling it is because eventually Cookie does want to leave, right? He wants to head south.
Yeah, they've been saving up all this money and putting it into like this tree.
Yeah, because they should put it in a bank.
I thought they were gonna take it to like an actual bank.
No, just like a tree.
Just
the
a
tree is the bank.
Yeah.
But
that scene where Thomas gets cut is where we learned that the chief tomorrow is gonna come and buy an oily cake, so you better save one for him.
Yeah, and that was also like
oh shit,
another part. Or like this movie doesn't have a lot of like heart pounding moments, but that was another part where I was like, oh fuck, I hope he doesn't notice the milk. But I don't know, the chief is kind of dumb, right? Like where else would they be getting this milk from for these oily cakes?
Unless like the chief doesn't know that like you need milk to make them.
No, he knows because
because he says like back in London. Yeah.
So he knows, but it's like Cookie says, like some people can't imagine being stolen from. Yeah. And he's one of those people, and he kind of comes off as like a very dumb character. But I don't think it's that he's dumb. I think that he's just like very arrogant and full of himself, and he can't imagine anyone like daring to go against him and stealing from him.
Doing wrong.
But like, where does he think they get the milk from?
That is definitely something I was just like, damn. Because like when he gives them the cake, I was like, is this it? Is this how they get found out?
Yeah, no. It's just like, this reminds me of London. And he asks Cookie to bake what's it called? Like a pancake, basically.
Yeah, it's like it looks like a very fancy pancake.
Mm-hmm. It's because someone's coming over for tea.
Yeah.
So he's like, can you make this for me? It'll be like really impress my guest.
Yeah, which like we get the sense of like that, like like a lot of the stuff he does is kind of like to show like he's like a higher stature than someone else. You know, he dresses fancy. I think he walks with a cane. Maybe
He does, yeah.
he has a cow.
Yeah.
And I was gonna make this like fancy pancake for his guests.
Yeah, and out of everyone, I guess this guy would be the villain of the movie. There's not really a villain other than just like the situation that they're in, but he would be the most villainous. But it doesn't even come off as like that bad.
It's just like dudes and Cookie and King. That's basically like how I would describe it.
So Cookie, I guess he doesn't really have a choice, right? He's like, I have to make this thing for him, or else it's gonna be kind of suspicious. Or I don't even think he has a choice to say no.
Yeah. I feel like this is the point where I'd be like, oh, I could do that, but like I don't have any more like means to make it.
Yeah.
You know, like he could just lie and say that he's like out of milk.
Well, he kind of tries saying like, oh man, like I don't have this. And it's like, oh, can you use like apricots? It's like, oh, apricots are out of season.
He's like, oh, how about blueberries? And he's like, shit, yeah, I guess I can use blueberries.
Wow. He's like, and he even, I think Chief's like, I have a blueberry bush. You could use that. And he's like, all right, I can't say I don't have milk.
Yeah.
So he has to do this thing for the chief. And I think King gets like a little upset at that moment because he's like, oh, like, why did you agree to this? And Cookie's like, I can't really say no.
Yeah.
Because I think at this point, that's where they're like talking, right? They're like, Cookie wants to leave. He's like, okay, I think we have enough money now.
Yeah.
But King's like, no, like hotels are expensive. It's like, you need more.
Yeah. It's like, I think it was like, we have enough to get over there, but we don't have enough to start.
Yeah.
So it is kind of like that, like, well, come on, just a couple more days and we'll be set.
Yeah, and when they deliver the, I'm gonna call it like a cake, because I think that's what essentially it is. Like, it's like a pancake. When they deliver it to the chief, and I think it's like a colonel or something, or a captain.
Yeah.
His guest. He kind of does it like the chief when he presents Cookie. He's like, oh, look, this is like my baker.
Yeah.
And like showing off like this cake to him. He's like, yeah. But I think the captain at that point, even though he just met Cookie, already comes off as like a little suspicious when he sees the cake.
Yeah.
Like, how did you do this?
Yeah, because I think it is definitely, it's like heathens are over here. Or like, you know, people poor.
Yeah. And in that scene, when they're all talking, they're talking about how the fur trade is like kind of doing well, but back in like England or France, people don't want beaver fur anymore, right?
Yeah, they're like moving, like trends are changing.
Trends are changing, and they're like translating to one of like the natives about how like, oh, beaver will always be here or something. And King kind of speaks out. He's like, oh yeah, when I first arrived, I saw how like bountiful like this land is. And the chief and the captain kind of look at King like,
did we ask you?
Yeah, like, how dare you speak like to us?
Yeah, because he's not white.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's like one of like the few times where this movie like kind of brings it back to reality, where it's like, oh yeah, this is like the olden times. Like,
yeah,
people like King like aren't in like the same level as like these people.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And I think they have to like, after that goes well,
they go and they see the cow.
Yeah, they do. They go see the cow, and
the chief's like, you want to go see my cow? And then Cookie and King get tagged along, and the cow is like brushing up against Cookie. And I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, because the captain's staring, and he's like growing even more suspicious. Which is, man, he caught on to them quick.
Yeah, I think this is definitely where you see like, it's like, oh, he like this dude can see through bullshit pretty quick.
Yeah.
While the chief is more like, he's like stuck on this veil of illusion for himself. You know, it's like, no one will steal from me. And like, look how cool my cow is. And like, he's just thinking about his appearance. He's not thinking about like things around him.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, after they leave, King is talking to Cookie. He's like, you see, like, the chief has no idea. Like, he's so stupid. He doesn't realize we're stealing milk from him, so we could keep doing this. And Cookie's kind of, like, hesitant. He's like, no, I think we have enough now. Like, we should go.
Yeah.
He's
So
like,
I think they plan to do it one more time or something.
yeah, because they say, like, 2 more days.
Yeah, 2 more days.
But it's already getting a little, like, high pressure because it went from just stealing, like, 1 cup of milk.
So now they're stealing, like, a lot more.
Yeah, because the king's like, oh, 2 cups, we can make 60 more pieces.
Yeah. And because the chief says, he's like, oh, my poor cow, like, not producing that much milk anymore.
Yeah.
And like, Cookie's like, oh, that's weird.
Like, it's like maybe they're sad. And the chief is talking about how soon he's trying to get another steer for the cow.
So they're not lonely.
Yeah, so then that's another reason why they want to leave, because they're like, soon there's going to be more cows in the area and there's going to be more competition.
Yeah.
So it's like, you might as well leave now.
Yeah, I know. I think that was their chance to leave, but they bit off more than they could chew.
Yeah, and that's like another part of this movie where I feel like this movie also talks about greed a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's like, in the end, it's the greed of King trying to get a little bit more. It's also the greed of the chief, like, hoarding this cow and kill, like, in the end, like, sending out people to kill Cookie and King because they stole from him.
Yeah, and here it wasn't anything like, I guess, like, detrimental to, like, the chief, if you think about it, you know. They just took a little bit of his, like, property, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it was nothing that, like, hurt his business or, like, attacked his wealth. It was something that was just kind of like, you know, I'm just going to scrape off a little piece and you'll never know.
Yeah, because they go back that same night to get more milk.
Yeah.
Just to, like, it's like only like 2 more days or something. And just by chance, this one night, one of the servants that works for the chief is trying to get the cat back inside. And they hear, I think he, like, notices them, right? He, like, either hears King
is up in a tree and the branch that he sits on breaks.
Yeah.
And that's when he's, like, 100% alerted to them.
Yeah. He's like, people are attacking.
Yeah. I know, from all sides. Quick, get up.
Yeah, so everyone chases after them. And then Cookie and King get out of there. But when they go investigate what was going on, that's when the captain who was staying over is like, oh, someone's been stealing from you.
Yeah, someone's been milking your cow.
Yeah. And instantly, right, the chief's like,
Cookie.
He knows who it is.
Yeah.
So then this starts, like, the final, like, part of the movie, which is kind of crazy. When we were watching the movie, I remember feeling how, like, I guess bored from the, like, the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
To almost forgetting entirely about everything that, because I was, like, so enthralled in it. Like, I hope they make it.
Yeah, because, like, once you finally learn that, like, the plot is these 2 friends are trying to just, like, make a better life for themselves and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then, like, once that gets started, it's like the boring beginning piece is, like, almost like it's non-existent, you know? So
yeah.
It's there to set up, obviously, like the land that we're on and the people and stuff. But, like, definitely, like, the beginning is the weakest part of this movie.
Yeah.
And that's just coming from someone who is, like, not artsy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I feel like I don't know, I'm already, like, not the biggest fan of A24 films. And when I saw that, like, opening, like, the little bumper that's, like, A24, I had 2 expectations. I was like, this is either going to be, like, really violent and kind of fucked up, or it's going to be kind of boring.
Yeah.
And I guess the first third of the movie was boring, but then it kind of picked up, and I was really, like, invested in this movie.
Yeah, I was very surprised because, like, after watching, like, the first 20 minutes, I was about to be like, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
Like, can we watch something else?
Yeah.
Like, all these long, drawn-out shots and wilderness and stuff, and we're watching it at night, and I'm like, fuck, man. Like,
yeah.
I'm so bored. I'm tired. And then all of a sudden we start to learn more about Cookie and stuff. Like it is like a gradual build. Because like they couldn't just like jump straight in to Cookie and King. They needed this like little build up. But I think it could have been done a little bit faster.
Yeah, do you think if they cut all that stuff out from the beginning of like meeting Cookie and all that stuff, do you think you would feel as attached to Cookie as you were?
Probably not.
No, right? So,
but like I feel like they could have like shortened it a bit.
Yeah, I agree. I do think this movie was a little too long.
Like I said, cut 20 to 30 minutes and this would have been mint.
Yeah, so once like the chief finds out that they stole from him, that's where he sends out like a party. Like they're chasing them down. And it just becomes like the story of like these two bros on the run from the law.
Yeah, like Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah. They get separated.
Yeah, I think this is where we learn something. I don't think Cookie can swim.
No. Well, he doesn't. I don't know if he can't swim or if he's just scared because he doesn't jump.
Yeah, so I feel like he can't swim. That's like gonna be like my thought process. Just because like I don't know. When he's like in the beginning of the movie when he goes out fishing, I noticed he did kind of like step weird into the water to make sure it was like shallow enough for him to just walk right in.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say Cookie can't swim, and I feel like that's why he doesn't follow King.
Okay.
So King takes off swimming.
Like he jumps off that cliff
like quick, and Cookie goes and he like hides, which is kind of like more of his personality is shown in his actions. You know.
Yeah, Cookie is a little bit more cowardly.
Yeah, instead of just like trying to be out in the open running, he'd rather hide.
Yeah, and because he went that way, he ends up tripping and like busting his head on like a tree or a rock or something.
Yeah, he gets like knocked out. And this is a part of the movie I feel like could have been shortened a bit too.
Yeah.
He gets like taken in by some mysterious Indian.
Yeah, he gets taken in by like an old Native American, right? And his wife, I don't know, I think there's a second person in that shack.
Yeah.
And the camera lingers on this guy, this like old Native American, like doing these like moves outside of the window.
He's like doing yoga.
Yeah. It just lingers on him for so much. And it's like, I get it. It is like a kind of like beautiful seeing like this dude just like in nature. Just
vibing.
And I don't know if it's this like the director is like showing appreciation for like the natives and like how like beautiful like their traditions are, but it did feel a little out of place.
Yeah, because like Cookie, his head hurts, and it's bandaged up, and then like the screen's blurry.
Yeah,
and he's like, I gotta find my friend. And then it just kind of like he like passes out again.
Yeah,
and then we cut to King, and King's back at the house. And then that party of people looking for them come and like just like trash their place.
Oh, that was so sad.
That was sad.
Yeah, because they trash his house entirely. Like they break like the walls and like windows and doors. It's already kind of like a crappy place anyways, but it was home. And it was just sad seeing how it's like now they really have nothing left to keep them here.
Yeah, now it's like they gotta go quick.
And then when that night when Cookie decides to like, okay, I'm gonna leave now, there's just like these wolves. It was like standing guard.
Yeah, so he like tries to leave and there's these wolves chilling.
Yeah.
And then he just goes right back inside, and I was like, "This is such a weird scene."
Yeah.
Like I don't get it. Like I feel like that could have got cut.
Yeah, out of like, just like this intensity of like this chase and like them running for their lives, it did feel a little out of place having Cookie just like being concussed in this guy's house.
Yeah, I feel like if they just skipped this part, like maybe if Cookie like still hit his head, but like he just kind of like groggingly like found his way back to King, would have been nice just to kind of cut that whole scene.
Yeah, but he eventually ends up leaving and heading back to King's house, and when he arrives, he looks a little sad because he thinks
King left.
Yeah, he's like, King left, and then we see King like through the window. He's like, Cookie.
Yeah. And so like they meet back up and shit, and I smiled.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, he did stay.
Yeah,
because like I think we know that like he was gonna meet back up with Cookie because we know the two skeletons.
From the beginning, yeah.
And I feel like that's another reason why I feel like that beginning part should have got cut.
I think so too. Yeah, it took away so much.
So that because we knew King was coming back. Mm-hmm. It still made me smile that he didn't leave him, but I don't know. I feel like that would have been a nice little like thing to figure out for yourself.
Yeah. So they end up like, okay, we gotta go. So they leave, and I don't know how much time passes as they're trying to escape, but while they're escaping, going through like the brushwood and everything, we see Thomas. He's like the only one.
He's like tracking them.
Yeah, he like follows them and he sees them, and while they're running, Cookie's like, I have to rest. Yeah. Because he still has like a concussion, I'm assuming. So he lays down and like falls asleep. And at that point, I was like, I think Cookie's dead.
Yeah, I think that's when Cookie dies.
Because he has very shallow breathing, and you see his chest moving up and down a little bit, but it's like very like faint. So I think I think Cookie's done for, and King kind of looks at the bag of money, and I was like, I don't know if he was gonna leave, but knowing the skeletons are there, so I was like, he's not gonna leave. Obviously, he's gonna stay with Cookie. So he decides to like lie down with him. He's like, yeah, this is a good place to rest.
Yeah, so he keeps the bag of money behind him, and he lays down with Cookie.
Mm-hmm. And then this
just ends.
Yeah, this is the other hard cut of the movie. The beginning was like the hard cut of transitioning from modern times to back in the old Western times. And this is like the second cut where it just ends.
Yeah.
No gunshot. We don't see Thomas approaching. The camera lingers on Cookie and King just sleeping, and it ends. That's it.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot.
yeah, I do like that hard cut. It was pretty, only because we know what happens to them. So if they cut out that whole beginning,
yeah,
and then they still did that hard cut at the end, would you still like it?
I don't know, because I would be like, what happens? Do they die? Do they make it? But knowing the beginning that they did die, it kind of gave me closure. I like that we didn't see them gunned down and like super bloody, and
yeah,
it was like a very like peaceful like death. Like they like died together.
They died in their sleep.
And I don't know. I like that. I like how like this movie didn't like fuck them over. It showed them gracefully leaving the movie.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I think you pointed this out when we finished the movie. Mm-hmm. You were like, I think you hear like extra footsteps at the end of the movie,
which is like Thomas.
Yeah, approaching, which I feel like is like a nice touch. Mm-hmm. To anyone who was like confused, if you had picked up on that.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, so let's take a break here, and then we'll come back. Maybe I'll have some trivia. I don't know. Ooh. And then we'll give like our final thoughts, and we'll find out what we're gonna watch next week. All right, and we're back with some Dairy Good trivia.
I hate you.
So I don't have that much for you, Nick, but here's a couple that I saw from IMDb. So Slow Elk was suggested as an alternate title, as that's how cattle were known to Oregon's first people. As like slow elk is still a slang term for cattle used by big game hunters in some western states.
I feel like First Cow was way better.
I think so too.
I feel like Slow Elk, I would have been very confused on why it was called that.
Yeah. It would have been a very, like, even add to, like, how artsy this movie is.
Oh my, yeah, I know. It kind of would have made me groan a little bit, not gonna lie.
So, I don't know how you pronounce this. I'll try. It's either, like, a clafoutis or clafoutis, which is, like, the thing that they want Cookie to make.
Oh, the pancake.
Yeah. It's a French dessert consisting of a layer of fruit, traditionally black cherries, covered in batter, baked, dusted with powdered sugar, and sometimes served with cream. So in case you didn't know what that was, like, I didn't know what that was. I know the movie is based on a book called The Half-Life. And I was, like, doing some research on the book, and I guess the book is like a lot longer, and it cuts from the 1800s back to modern time a lot. It like cuts back and forth, and like they end up going to like China, and like they go on like a lot of adventures. And I
Oh wait,
think
Cookie and King.
yeah,
Oh,
and I think King is like two characters from the book like mixed into one for the movie.
okay.
And I don't think the cow part is in the book either.
Oh, okay.
So that's like
So like first cow is like it takes the characters from the book
mm-hmm.
and does its own little like.
Yeah, it's like its own little like short story thing.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool, actually. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I know the director, Jonathan Raymond, and I mean the writer Jonathan Raymond who wrote this book, and the director like, they did a lot of work together for this movie. So I think he like worked on like the screenplay and stuff.
Gotcha.
So here's some goofs. So, Cookie mentions that he wants to have a business in San Francisco, right? But the film is set in the 1820s when San Francisco has not officially been named.
Ooh, okay.
So, I guess if you're like a history nerd, you're like, actually.
Actually, it's not. It's the provenance of.
And here's one thing that did bother me, and I wanted to point this out earlier. So when the girl, like when the woman in the beginning of the movie, and she's like digging up the skeletons, right? Those bones are like in pristine shape.
Oh God, yeah, and they're like only like 2 inches deep.
Yeah, like the skull was like peeking out, and it's had like no protection. It was like a very shallow grave, and it's like 2 centuries old. Like those bones were disintegrated by then.
Yeah, probably.
So that's like another part of the movie that I was like, I don't know if I buy that.
Yeah.
Another part from the movie, and I don't know if you knew this, Nick, but did you know that the cow from First Cow actually has a name?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
Is it Honeydew?
The cow's name is Evie, or
Evie.
Eve.
Ooh. I bet that cow got so much love on set.
Oh, I'm sure.
Everyone was going over that cow, I bet, and just petting the fuck out of the cow.
Yeah.
Like giving it so much love.
All right. That's all the trivia I have. I don't know if you had any.
No, I had no trivia.
For a movie that I don't know, I didn't really. The only person I recognized from this movie was a chief actor because he's in like Harry Potter and like Jurassic World and stuff. But everyone else, no idea. All fresh faces for me.
Yeah, I knew Cookie only because of Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
He plays Vinny.
Okay. Yep. I think I kind of recognize one of the trackers at the end, like the Irish guy.
Yeah.
I feel like he makes cameos in like a bunch of movies, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
So, okay, Nick, give me your final thoughts for this movie.
So after initially watching First Cow, I didn't know how to feel about it.
Okay.
And I'm glad we took a couple of days. Well, my voice was bad, but I took a couple of days to really sit on the movie, and I think it's a good movie.
Okay.
My only problem mainly is it's a little bit long for me.
Yeah.
A little too drawn out, maybe a little artsy for me. Mm-hmm. It's a hard recommendation though.
Yeah.
Because like recommending Super 8 or Upgrade, movies that didn't do super well in the box office, I know there's an audience for these movies. Mm-hmm. First Cow is a tough sell.
Yeah.
Because it's like, because you can't tell someone the plot of the movie, I don't think.
No, because I think that would just like mislead them.
Yeah, because like they're going to be looking at their watch for like the first like 25, 30 minutes, be like, when the fuck are they baking?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a tough movie to sell. If you know any like people who are like not pretentious, that was my first thought.
Cinephiles.
Yeah, people who are really into like like underground or like movies you never heard of. This is their movie.
Yeah.
Like this is perfect for them. People who love cinematography would probably like really dig this movie with the long shots, how everything was set up.
Oh my god, we didn't even mention that, but this movie was shot in 4:3.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. And it fits really well.
Yeah.
And yeah, so because it's a tough recommendation, I don't know. If I was making my own movie collection, I wouldn't put it in it.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
This is just something that I would not ever turn to and be like, oh, I have an extinguished guest over for cream and crumpets, and we're gonna watch First Cow. No. So.
Yeah. You know, I agree with you. I do think it is a good movie. But is it like I think it belongs in my collection, and I don't know. Like it's like you said, right? It's such a hard recommendation. Even like the synopsis, which I just I just found it right now. It says like a skilled cook has traveled west and joined a group of fur travelers in Oregon. Though he only finds true connection with a Chinese immigrant also seeking his fortune. Soon the two collaborate on a successful business. I don't know. I feel like, yeah, that's what the movie's about, but it takes a while to get to any of that.
Yeah, I feel because like when you make synopsises and stuff, you're trying to get the entire plot of the movie for the general audience.
Yep.
It should be more like, do you like slow burns?
Yeah.
You know, like it's almost like it's like if you like this, and this, this is a good movie for you. You know, like, are you cool with like artsy shots, like a period piece? Then maybe this is a good look for you.
Yeah. I guess it's like, as a period piece, I do think it's one of the best period pieces I've seen in a very long time, or ever. It's like the most believable.
Yeah. Mainly because it wasn't like very far out there with a premise. It was very simple.
And what I liked about it was, I feel like when you watch a lot of westerns, it's a lot of like ripping tooting cowboys like blowing like their pistols, but there's hardly any guns in this movie until like the very end.
And I think they only like shoot a gun like once.
Yeah, like once or twice. So that was really cool. The movie's shot in 4:3, and it's such a personal like frame. So I think we like that also adds to like how much of a connection we feel towards the characters, because it is a very personal, and like when they take up a shot, they take up the shot. Like we see a lot of like the very subtle emotions that they portray, especially Cookie. Mm-hmm. Like how we mentioned earlier, how it's like when Cookie smiles, that makes you feel good.
Yeah, because he's like generally like this like a sad character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's not like, even though the movie lingers on a couple of shots for a little bit too long, I think it's not wasted, because since it is such like a very like narrow frame, there's not a lot of like empty waste of that frame. Everything in those frames are either so it could show you like the environment, what's happening, or like just like focusing you on what like the movie wants you to focus on, instead of like your eye darting here and there. I do like this movie. I like it a lot. Don't know anytime I'll ever watch it again.
No, I feel like this is like a one and done movie.
I think so too. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know many people who are like art house lovers who I could be like, you need to watch First Cow. It's like amazing.
Yeah.
But I am very surprised that when we watched this last night, we watched it with a couple of people, and one person ended up saying that they really love this movie.
Yeah.
And like, I was very surprised. They're like, yeah, I like this movie a lot, so maybe I'll just give it to them.
Yeah.
And so they could keep it in their collection. What I will say about this movie is very chill.
Yeah.
It's a very chill movie.
If you go to this movie and you're like a little nappy, you might fall asleep, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's just there's this, like I said, it's a very. All right, now how before we said like empty is not a good word. The movie is simple.
Yeah, it's a very simple movie.
It's very simple. It's right to the point, and yeah, like I said, I think this would have been way more fun to watch as like maybe like a short mini series.
Yeah.
Because I kind of just want more Cookie in my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, good movie, hard to recommend.
Yeah.
Is the best review of the movie I could give.
Yeah, I think this is like one
I,
of like the first movies that's like it's good, but it's not for us.
yeah, so like I wouldn't put it in the collection.
No. Um. Oh man, that's awesome. I am glad that so far it's a wide variety of movies. We've gone from like
Yeah.
movies that are like very underground
Yeah.
to like raunchy comedies, and now like this like art house movie.
Yeah, so and it's kind of funny cuz like the movies we put on the wheel last time kind of looking for a stinker
Yeah.
just because everything we've like done has been like, "Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it." And it's like maybe we should finally get a movie in there that like we don't like.
Yeah.
And then when you see First Cow, you're like, how good can that be?
Yeah.
It turns out good.
Yeah. I think if we would have filmed, I mean, and not filmed, but I think if we would have recorded this episode the day after, my opinions would have been very different
I
on
could
this
see
movie.
that.
But just because we did take a couple of days before we recorded, this movie like lingered and marinated a little bit more in my brain. So like I think because of that time we took off, it made me like the movie and appreciate it a little bit more because I kept thinking about it just because I knew we were going to record this soon. So I was trying not to be too forgetful, and like the more I thought about this movie, the more I was like, yeah, I like that. I did like that, and like it made me think about like, oh yeah, those guys were like really good. I did like seeing them a lot.
Yeah. I'd say I couldn't give this movie the masterpiece title
No.
unless it got a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just like a personal hot take on it.
You know what this would have been good as? This story would have been really cute as like a maybe like an 8 episode slice of life anime.
Oh my god, make Cookie and King into an anime?
I would have cried at the end.
Oh my god.
Because that's what it felt like, just like a slice of life movie.
Yeah, it was.
Not very high stakes. I don't know. But let's find out what we're going to watch next week.
Ooh.
We got... All right. So on this week's wheel, we got a couple of movies that we've had on the wheel before, so we're just going to give them another chance. We got The Innkeepers again. The Others, Charlie's Angels, Attack the Block, Shin Godzilla, The Scorpion King, They Live, and Scooby-Doo.
Let's go.
Is this week's going to be... Is it going to be Scooby-Doo's chance?
So, can I just say?
Uh-huh.
So, obviously, how I said before, we're putting on a couple maybe stinkers, Scorpion King, and stuff like that. What do you want to happen for the wheel? Like, what are your hopes?
I don't know, because there are a lot of movies in my collection that I haven't seen yet. So I know some of them are going to be boring. But when it comes to bad movies, it's hard, right? Because some bad movies for me, it's like, yeah, they're bad, but they're fun.
Yeah.
And I think I prioritize fun over good.
I guess. Okay.
So, I don't know. I don't know. There's a couple of movies on this list that I haven't seen.
Yeah, I'd say like half that list I've seen.
Well, let's give this bad boy a spin and see what happens. Oh, so close.
Oh, I have never been so disappointed in my life.
All right. Are you ready for this? Can you smell what this movie is cooking, Nick?
It's not Scooby-Doo, and I'm really sad.
No. It
But-
is The Scorpion King. I think one of The Rock's debut movies.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I've never seen it.
No, I haven't seen this movie since I was a child.
And so the only reason why I like picked it as like for the wheel is just because like I just hear things about this movie. Where I used to work, there was a guy who was like he had a T-shirt for the Scorpion King. He quoted the movie a lot. So like I have a little bit of high hopes for like this to be like a fun movie to watch.
I don't remember it being good.
I hear it's bad. So maybe we'll finally get one where we'll be like, this movie sucks.
Dude, this movie is like, it reminds me of my dad, because like we went to go see this movie,
Oh shit.
and whenever I think of this movie, I think of him. He bought me like the Scorpion King on the GameCube.
Oh, that's sick.
So that was a game I played a lot growing up. So I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see this movie.
Yeah, me too.
I can't imagine it being any good, but I wonder how fun it holds up. Like, in my head, I think of this as like, oh man, that was a good time. But, as of recently, I want to say like last year, I tried watching a movie that I had a lot of fun with as a kid. I couldn't get 10 minutes into it.
Yeah, that definitely happens. That's funny enough. So like Scorpion King reminds you of your dad. Charlie's Angels reminds me of my mom.
Really?
Because my mom was like, it was like we used to have like movie nights, and it was like we all picked movies, but my mom never picked anything. And finally she picks a movie as Charlie's Angels, and I just remember like my dad being like, "This movie sucks," and my mom really liking it because it was like a girl movie, like they're all badass. So I was kind of hoping for that one. I'm not gonna lie, Scooby Doo was like a childhood one, but I'm excited to see Scorpion King though, to finally get. I was about to say my stinger wet, but
no. We'll recycle these movies for the wheel, and we'll just add a new one to replace Scorpion King.
Okay.
But thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed our take on the first cow, as some people who are not very artsy-fartsy. We're just, your average Joes, movie lovers. We could appreciate a smart, artsy movie, but it's not our thing.
Yeah. And if you're interested in it, I say give it a watch.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, I feel like it's definitely like, give it a shot,
That's one of those movies that's like, if you have the time and enough of an interest, give it a watch. It's not going to hurt.
Yeah, no, definitely an attention span is needed.
Yeah, the cow is very cute. I will say that.
Yeah. If anything, just go look at the cow.
Yeah. I want that poster. I want a first cow poster.
That would be pretty sick to have, though.
Please rate and review us wherever you listen to your podcast. If you want to watch along, you can watch Scorpion King. Maybe you'll have similar takes on us next week.
Yes.
Anything you want to add, Nick?
And if you guys have any movie recommendations that we could throw on the wheel, let us know. We're always looking. Mm-hmm. And I think that's all I got.
Yeah. I know we have an Instagram. I haven't updated it. I will update it soon.
Forgot we had an Instagram.
But yeah, thanks for listening. All right. See you guys later.
Peace out.
Bye.